Well, hello, my friends. I'm Charles Smith, your host of the Amazing Happy Village, where we believe your children are amazing. They deserve to be happy, and it requires a village to help them to succeed. So today I want you to get pen and paper ready because we're going to sow into you so that you can sow into your children so that they will be able to soar in the world. Today I have with me two fabulous guests today. To my immediate right, I have Miss Mekael Black, and Miss Pauline Rogers. Welcome to the Amazing Happy Village, lady.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's start with you, Mekael. Tell us a little bit about you. I know you're the author of 2 books. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do and why you do it.
Yes, okay. I'm the author of 2 books, The Fearless Princess and What Would A-Tab Play Today, Play Day at Recess. And they're both children's books. And What Would A-Tab Play Today is actually a accelerated reader book. And it's allowed in the school systems, some school systems that have the accelerated reader program, the kids may take a test on the book and receive points toward their AR goal. The books were inspired by my children. And once I wrote the books, I started researching childhood literacy, and I developed a passion for children and finding out that some children in some communities don't have access to books. So a desire sparked in me to help get access to books, get children access to books who may not have access to books, just because of their circumstances.
And ladies and gentlemen, hang around because you'll see that passion that she has in just a second when it comes to doing the right thing for our children and them reading. So, Miss Rogers, again, welcome to the show. You are doing some amazing things.
Thank you.
Tell us who you are and what you're doing.
I'm Pauline Rogers. I'm impacted by crime and incarceration, formerly incarcerated, and now operating reentry housing for those that's coming out of prison, help reintegrating them back in the community. And a part of what we do is reading. I'm an avid reader. I'm not a published author yet. The reason why I've spent so much energy and time in ensuring that our children that has a parent in prison are reading, because I experienced on firsthand that people could not even talk well in order to express themselves. And so it is important to be reading, and that's a very vital part of our program.
Absolutely. So you can see already, ladies and gentlemen, what this program is going to be about. It's going to be about reading because we want to make sure that our children get the best opportunity that's possible. So first of all, let me just take some time to thank and congratulate my grandson, Tyler Collins, who was drafted by the Atlanta Braves Major League Baseball team the other day, this past Monday.
Okay.
And I just want to say
congratulations
to his parents for having him to read early and read often and taking him back and forward to these different games. It requires a village. So his grandmom and myself are proud. We feel like we did our part. We believe that we're the reason that he's in the major.
Own it.
But we're going to allow his dad and his mom. I have an awesome son-in-law that he does a great job with him. And my oldest daughter, we are so proud of them. But let me just say this. We can't stop with our own. I mean, we can't just say, well, we're successful with our children.
Right.
I'm done. I'm not going to worry about, other children. It's on the parent themselves, right? No. God instructed me to write a book, 7 Steps to Raising Amazing Children, because he wanted me to help parents do a better job with their children. I appreciate you all for instilling in children's, Mekael, like yourself, you wrote 2 books, and like you, Pauline, I mean, the book that I wrote, one of your re-entry students, I call it, I donated some books, and that's what we're about today. We're donating books to Pauline's cause, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she does. But she had one of her ladies to go through that book, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about that later on. So the first question, though, that I want to ask, and I'll start with you, Mekael. Why is reading important today for our children, particularly if we can say our black children?
For me, reading is freedom. I'm not a history buff, but I remember there was a time where our ancestors, they couldn't read.
Yes. They
were either beaten, jailed, or fined. Even if someone taught them to read, they would be fined or jailed. Frederick Douglass said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. So reading is freedom. We have an opportunity to get our children reading as early as possible. It's no crime. The books are there.
Yes.
Get them started reading as early as possible. They're soaking it up. They're very impressionable. They see you reading, they'll read. Reading is powerful. It's power. By the end of 3rd grade, they're no longer learning to read in school. At the beginning of 4th grade, they're expected to know how to read to learn. Children, if they're not reading by the end of 4th grade proficiently, they're two-thirds of those students are likely to end up in juvenile. So it's so important for me to encourage parents and children to fall in love with reading as early as possible so we can stay out those statistics.
Wow, that is awesome, and that's a great segue to you, Pauline, what you're doing, because once they go to, with the statistics saying that they may end up in juvenile court, that also is another step toward prison. Mm-hmm. And talk to us a little bit why reading is important to you and the calling on your life and what you're doing to make sure that once folk get out of prison, they're not going back if you have anything to do with it.
Absolutely. Well, for us, it's going back to it once they end up in the big house, is what I call it, prison. We're going back to do the first work, so what you're trying to get people to fall into doing now with reading. And for me, it's a step further. If you talk, you are reading. How we talk every day, we are communicating. We're just not putting it on paper and publishing it. Every day we're talking a book, every single day of our lives. Children should see us reading and hear us reading. Not only see us picking up a book, but hear. They know where to put emphasis, inflections, deflections. So reading is important. And even the movies we allow our children to read are just as important as what they're reading on paper. And not just what they read on paper, there should be something about every person we know in our lives, whether we like them or not, a quote about them or a quote that we heard them say. Reading is knowledge. It's empowerment. And like the author said, it's freedom. And the more they hear us quoting some famous quote of somebody, we learn more about knowledge. We learn more about the world. We learn more about people. We learn more about things. Even if you open up directions and instructions and it says, please read the manual first, you will learn that is a system for everything that's created. Please read the manufacturer's instructions. That way you won't go any further. So reading is important in every aspect of life.
So parents, please listen to these instructions first for your children, right? Mm-hmm. Start reading to them before they can even read themselves.
Yes.
Like you both said, and the inflection, the sound. Because we don't teach them English. We speak English if we're around them and they learn. So reading, if they see us reading, and both of you hit on that, if they see us reading, then they would want to read. So that leads me to, another question. So Pauline, about the success that you've had in your reinterest program, and I visit your place. I'm impressed with the library. Okay, so I'm gonna get both of you to talk about the library that people should have. Now, you're dealing with adults, mostly coming out of prison, and we're today getting some authors together so we can get books together for the children of the people who are incarcerated. And Mekael is going to talk a little bit about that. But talk to me a little bit about your library that you have at the house and how it is affecting those that are coming out of prison, coming through your system, and the statistics that you have.
Our library consists of material that can relate to people from all walks of life. Church life, natural life, romantic life, non-romantic life. What we have a lot is people, when we want people to do something, we control the parameters of what they should do. If you are on the church girl, the only thing you're going to find is a Bible book. That's okay. But when you're trying to get a person to a place of reading, it needs to be in a variety of forms and formats, because everybody doesn't comprehend and learn the same. And so our library consists of a variety of different material. When they come out of prison, for us, the first thing we do is get them to fill out. They've already filled out the application prior to coming to us. We get them to fill it out again. Why do we get them to fill it out again? Because we don't know if they were the actual person that filled it out from inside the prison. Because I've learned from dealing with the population that I deal with, is sometimes they have other people to do their work. And so they look good before they come to you. So we find out if this is really you. And so we get them to redo their first works that they've already done. And not as a place of shame, but as a place to unlevel for us to deal with them. And so we start them out with reading wherever we feel like they should be. And the young lady, the resident one of our residents now, came in because her crime was associated with children and child neglect. And that book was so on time and on point for us. Now we have other people, but this was relatable in that she was African American, you're African American. That book, she immediately dived into that book and stayed there. I mean, I would capture pictures of her sitting around in that book, whether it was at the dining room table, in the kitchen. She had that book open. She had a tablet next to her, and she was taking notes. So I had not read the book, still have not read the book, but this book had her undivided attention. And I told her when I gave her the book, you will meet the author. So I've seen and I've heard her talk from her own words how important that book was. So we keep our library filled to make it known to the residents that whatever they are concerned about is important to us. And we try to make available to them resources that they can be further educating themselves or getting themselves to a better place than when they left, in order for them to reintegrate more wholesomely in the community.
Because it's not too late.
Not too late.
Once they get out, we just have to start and continue by filling the mind, which is so rich, with the proper knowledge so that we can move forward. And the book she was talking about is 7 Steps to Raising Amazing Children that I wrote. This particular book, if you go on Amazon and look at some of the reviews, I am telling you, and I can't wait to meet her so that we can chat, since you told her she was going to meet the author. So we're going to make sure that takes place. And so what we're doing now, Mekael, we are getting together to try and make sure that the people who are incarcerated, their children have books while their parents are away. So I'm going to get you to talk about that in just a second, but we're going to go to this commercial break. So today's show is brought to you by earthblendcoffee.co. Black owned, roasted right here in Jackson, Mississippi. It's just great coffee. The link is in the Facebook description box. Click on the link and support our sponsor, earthblendcoffee.co. it is just great coffee. Let us know how you have enjoyed that coffee once you try it.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Well, welcome back to the Amazing Happy Village, where you can see we have with us today author Mekael Black and Pauline Rogers. So, Pauline had just mentioned to us how important reading was for some of the members that's in her establishment. Tell us how you have gathered together some authors so that we can help support. I know you've donated some books, how we can help support the great work that she's doing.
Right. I have a group of author friends who have the same desire and passion about reading, diversity, and getting our children excited about reading. So what they came to me, and I presented the opportunity to them, and they said they were willing to participate. And so what we would love to do is donate some of our books, or even if sponsors would like to sponsor the books, we would love for that, so we can reach more children and provide more books to these parents.
Oh, absolutely, and we definitely going to have some sponsors supporting. But I want to make sure that you understand just how enthusiastic these authors are about. See, people think, and these are black authors, by the way, too, guys, because our children need to see somebody look like them when they're reading, okay? And these authors are excited about making a difference in these children's lives. So we definitely want, and we'll get up a sponsor page, and they can get in touch with you, Mekael, since you're handling that, and or if people want to donate, because we're going to make sure that Miss Rogers' program, because and she's going to talk about this in a minute, she does a big Christmas drive for all of the children in the area that are incarcerated. We don't want to forget about those. Okay? And she's also helping the ones who are getting out. Oh man, that's full circle right there. I love it. So what you're doing is, and I appreciate you taking the ball and running with this, your passion, you contacted other people with passion. And so about 6, 7, 8 of y'all with a lot of passion, and I'm getting books in the mail already, Ms. Rogers.
And these authors have written books from toddler up to high school.
So we're going to be covering all ages. Okay? We're going to be covering all ages. So please, and we'll tell you how you can reach Miss Black on the website before the end of the show will tell you how you can reach Miss Pauline before the end of the show, because we have work to do.
Right.
I started the show off by being proud of my grandson. But look, I know I'm sitting here today with two people who God has played a calling on their life. I got just as much passion about what I do. Now, I am enjoying the fact that this is not for you, but we're trying to serve other people.
Right. Right.
This is what makes this so special to me. You know, the work that you're doing is helping to make a difference in people's lives. And I'm going to get both of you to respond on this question, but I believe that reading and illiteracy and crime some kind of way connect.
Oh, yes, it does.
And we can help the crime, and nobody's wanting to talk about it though, you know? That's a whole different program, but I'm telling you, I got to get this out. But I think our teachers need to be paid. I'm so upset with that. And then nobody want to talk about the real deal of what's going on. So that's a whole other show. But tell me, let's start with you, Mekael. Why do you think reading and crime have some things to do with each other?
Well, the Department of Justice stated that crime and reading failure are closely related. And I believe it's due to, just think about it, if a child is struggling at reading and they're not progressing, they may start to act out.
Yes.
And if they start to act out because they don't want to read in class, or they're not understanding, or they're being held behind and they're older than most of the students in their class, they're going to act out so they can get kicked out or get sent home. They get sent home. If the parent is not there, then what else they have to do but get in trouble? Just idle minds. So that's my reasoning, is they're doing it, they're acting out in school because they don't want to be embarrassed, to be shamed, and they need help but don't know how to ask for help or seek help or get the help at home. I believe that a parent should be the first teacher anyway. But if the parent is not there and the school is, falling behind with reaching that child, then who's there to help?
Right. Well, that's what we're going to try and fill that gap. The reason that we call this show The Amazing Happy Village is because we do believe every child is amazing.
Right.
They deserve to be happy, right? And when you can read, I was told a long time ago, you can go anywhere in the world.
Right.
If you can read. But it requires a village. And sometimes that village is going to require if the parent is not there and not doing what they're supposed to do, that village may require an author like a Mekael, or an owner of an organization like a Miss Pauline Rogers. So we have to stand in the gap to do what we need to do, rather than just talk about the children. We got to do something about, what we see, right? So, Miss Rogers, tell me about how, and you really have some experience with this, with what you see, how crime and something that's, I want to say simple as reading, but it does start at home, doesn't it?
It does start at home. And Ms. Black articulated it so well. The parent is the first teacher. If that parent is not there, then you have the teacher. And reading is closely related to crime and imprisonment. It's the communication. And when you read, or you read into the child, you find out, is this actually a reading problem, or are they not comprehending? Mm-hmm. They may recognize the word, but they may not understand the meaning of how the words are written. So that's what reading will help you interpret and find out some of these problems. And then when you talk about criminal justice, I got to go into what used to be America's favorite and famous family in the African American community was Bill Cosby, who was just released from prison. In my own personal opinion, and nothing to do with the Amazing Happy Village show, I am glad he is free. Mm-hmm. And what I see Bill Cosby doing now is taking his experience of incarceration, adding it to helping these children who got a parent in prison and those who are projected the next prison population. And we always have had Dr. James Dobbs. We've not had the amazing Happy Village. We need more of them.
Amen.
We need Miss Black. We need the experience of black mamas talking about how to be a good parent. And I'm glad that this show is existing to have people, authors, African American authors, who can speak to issues concerning the African American communities. And so that's what we do with our reading inside the home. We tell them, don't freak out because somebody hand you this book and it's 300 pages or 50 pages when you've never even read a paragraph. Or it's overwhelming.
Right.
So I teach them, just learn a famous quote. And I teach them about the amendments and that I'm dealing. The 13th Amendment was the abolishment of slavery. You get legalized alcohol at the age of 21. That's when, at the 21st Amendment, is when they legalize alcohol. You give them something simple to work with. Start from there. The First Amendment, the freedom of speech. You got the right to say what you want to say. I mean, you got to give them something simple to say, oh, it's not so hard to learn.
Right.
Oh, I learned this amendment.
Yes.
Or Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created it. You give them something simple. Revelation was you give them something simple to learn, and it makes it easier with picking up that 5-page book. You got through that, you increase it because you're dealing with people who've never read. So you got to start with something simple. And I like to use famous quotes of other people. Thurgood Marshall simply said, to me was a famous quote because he said it. I did what I could with what I had. Margaret Thatcher was famous for saying, if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. So it's something simple. You learned a little bit about Margaret Thatcher. So you got to keep it simple in order for them to feel like it is in their ability to accomplish it and get it done. And so that's what reading is, making something simple.
Right.
Keeping it simple.
Wow,
Right.
that is so awesome. Just feed them a little bit at a time. Just
Right.
like you do a baby. You know, you don't start them off on the big stuff first, right? Let them get the taste of it, grow some teeth, and then they'll start chewing on some things, right?
Right.
That is a beautiful way of looking at it, because I want parents to understand, I don't care where you are in life right now. I don't care what you've done, how many mistakes somebody may say you have made. This is not about what you've done or how you messed up. It's what you can do today going forward, because your child is going to continue to grow and be in society, and we don't want them to be in the village of prison.
Right.
That is a village. We want to avoid that, okay? If we do what we need to at home, and again, I don't want to sit here and say parenting is easy, because I know, there are some people who may be singing, you working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, but I don't believe in making excuses when it comes to our children, because they are a gift from God and we have a responsibility. And if reading is going to help them, right?
Right.
I want that done. So I believe that and the reason that we want to get these books together from all these different authors, these black authors, I believe that every household need a library.
Yes.
Tell us, Mekael, what do you think about that?
I think a child having their own home library is very important. Just think about the pandemic. Kids were out of school, they couldn't go to their local library, so they were at home. And if they didn't have books in the home, what were they reading? So it's important to have books in the home. Studies have shown that a home that has 500 books in the home has propelled this child 3.2 school years. Wow. Now, having at least 80, I know that sounds like a lot of books, right? But there are some homes in some countries where they have 500 books in the home. But having at least 80 books in the home will put your child on path to being above average with that with their reading level. So having their own books at home to read at their leisure is very important, and not just certain type of books, but a diverse home library, different types of books, books featuring different types of subjects from different types of authors, because you want to get your child diversified in their reading. So it's very important for them to have a book that they can pick up throughout the day, anytime, so they can read.
And I definitely want to continue on this conversation because I don't think that's a lot of books anyway. I'm just thinking about 3,000 in my library if I have a child, right? But we're going to take a commercial break. Today's show is brought to you by earthblendcoffee.co, black-owned, roasted right here in Jackson, Mississippi. It's just great coffee. The link is in the Facebook description box. Click on the link and support our sponsor, earthblendcoffee.co. It's some great coffee. If you haven't tried it, please do so. You will not be disappointed. Black owned right here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Well, welcome back to the Amazing Happy Village, where we have with us today the awesome author, Mekael Black, and the magnificent Pauline Rogers. The work you all are doing, phenomenal. Continue to do it. We were talking about having a library at home, and you had given some statistic right before I go to Miss Pauline. In some places, they have up to 500,000 books.
500.
500
books in the home, and studies have shown that propels a student 3.2 school years.
So if you have 1,000, it'd be 4. I'm just doing the math here because I'm thinking I got to get ahead of this game, right? Because we see phenomenal things happening when people read and apply themselves. Now, we have the talent. Okay,
Right.
And the reason that we're talking to our parents today, and the reason that there is a village, is because we want to sow into our parents, like I always say, so that they can sow into their children's, right? And we saw a spelling bee champion, right? That obviously have been reading and practicing, right?
Right.
But she also does other things too, playing basketball, right? But now, when you see stuff like that, how encouraging is that to you, Miss Pauline?
Very encouraging. It shows that no matter, she's from a little country town. Most people had never heard of that part of Louisiana. And it's encouraging, and she's a person of color. First one ever to win it, and so it's encouraging to me that every child is capable of learning. Every child is capable of succeeding when given the opportunity and the tools. And it's like Miss Black was talking about how many books in the library, Well, that probably just, some people feel like they would never achieve it. Well, if you got an electronic device, you have already however many books on the e-Kindle and the e-books. List them out, that what you have on your phone. Don't count yourself out because you don't have the space in your home, or you may be in a one-bedroom, whatever. List those books that's on your Kindle as your e-library, and show Miss Black and other authors that I do have these. So start where you are.
That's right.
You don't have the bookmarkers to put the physical books in. Name every book that's on your e-Kindle, on your e-device, and start from there. One thing that we've done over the years, and we will be closing out our summer, we provide summer camps to children with an incarcerated parent. And one thing that we do every year is at our giveaway to these children, a book is a requirement. We never do a giveaway where we don't give reading material. They have to have a book. And we do a variety of books. Some of our books are in the home economics category, where they learn how to be skillful in the books that they get. We give them books where they can learn how to make jewelry, furniture, just whatever. We give them all type of books. So don't cancel out if a child doesn't learn one way, but learn another way, because every piece of reading material is important to children. So I just love that the Amazing Happy Village and the seven steps to being an amazing parent is what is now helping one of our residents, and I'm just tickled pink over it. And another thing about Miss Black's book and your book, one thing that we do when we get these books, we give incentives to children that when they read these books, that they may get $25, whatever. We give them an incentive to read. And so that's what, not only will these books be donated, but there are some children, not all of them, that will get an incentive for reading the book.
You know, I'm going to just say this, because my grandson, the one that was just drafted by the Major League Baseball organization, the Atlanta Braves, I gave him a book, 7 Steps to Raising Amazing Children. I said, now listen, you don't have any children yet, but this book is talking about your mother and your aunties that I raised. Now, this was during his graduation, high school graduation, a few months back, and I gave him some money, but I said, now there is additional money once this book is read, right? So giving them that incentive. So I like that. So I was going to ask about encouraging parents. So, Mekael, have you done anything like that?
It's funny that she said that, because this summer I actually did that with my kids. They have a requirement of how much they have to read every day, how long they have to read, but sometimes it's summer, you know, so I gave them an extra incentive if they read above their 20 minutes a day. Then I gave them a monetary incentive based off the number of pages of the book or the reading level of the book. So it's funny that you said it, because I did implement that this summer, and it's been working very well with my children, especially my son, because he will read, but he's not a big reader. But money kind of motivated him a little bit. Yeah. So that gave him, you know, the extra incentive to read a little bit more. And I also want to go back to the home library. For parents who may not have access to books or e-books, who may be on a very tight budget, there are resources and organizations out there to help. You have like libraries, oftentimes they'll give away old books. You can get books from the library, thrift stores. You can get books for little or nothing, 25 cents, 50 cents. And different organizations who oftentimes have giveaways, they'll give away books in the community. And I set up a community book giveaway program, and throughout the community that I give away books for children in the community to help add to their home library.
Wow, now that's that passion that I was telling you all about, Village Friends. These two young ladies are passionate about what they do. And I thought I was passionate about what I do, but that's taking it to a whole nother level. But you know what? That's what we have to do. You know, we can criticize or we can mobilize and go out and do something about the situation, right? So I was going to ask you to tell us, you know, both of you, how people can get in touch with you at the end of the show. But this is a good time to do it because you're doing this summer program. How can people contact you to help you with your program that you have going?
They could go to my website, mekaelblack.com, Mekael black.com, or they can email me at mekaelblack@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And the books can also be purchased on Amazon, is that correct?
Right, they can be purchased on Amazon, and if you want to sponsor books for kids in the community or for the program for the incarcerated parents, the children of incarcerated parents, you can go there as well, as long as in your site that you're going to get set up.
Yes. Well, mostly we want to just, I mean, if they could come to you, since you're spearheading this for us, we want to keep it simple. We just want to make sure that we support the great work that Miss Pauline Rogers are doing, because I'm telling you, Pauline, we're talking about a lot of times some forgotten people. Now, you and I both know folk will frown on people who are incarcerated and easily forget about the children of parents who are incarcerated there. I want to tell them how we can contact you, or if people want to sponsor you or donate anything, how can they contact you?
Our website, rechfoundationms.org, or either email us at rechpauline, Pauline, @gmail.com, or call us 601-918-2970. And I just want to add that reading is not complicated. If you want to know where to start with where your child is. If you can't get a child to read when if they into music all the time, start with music. Make them write down every artist they know and what kind of song or whatever to get them into that place of reading. You'd be surprised at how it gets them there. If all they want to do is draw on paper, get them to name some artists that they know and what type of artist it is. Start where they are to get them to read it. Another thing I used to do with my siblings growing up, they had to learn a word every day with the meaning of that word. They had to learn it. And every job that I've ever started, every job I've ever worked on, I always challenge my coworkers. What is a word? What's the definition? To get us somewhere, ever learning. We got to be continual learners. Whether we're sitting in a tangible classroom or an online class, we have got to be continual learners every day of our lives.
That's true.
You know, I love that because I was told a long time ago, once you stop learning, you stop existing. Right. Because there's no staying the same. You always, because the world is not staying the same. It's always changing. Now, I know, Pauline, you may remember this. Miss Black may be too young, but you remember the pages, right, that we used to carry on outside?
Oh, yeah.
And now everybody has a cell phone. Yeah. And listen, I thought when I had a bad cell phone in my car, I was big stuff. Now everybody has a cell phone. So we're going to get left behind.
Yes.
And one of the things that our parents used to do back in the day, and everybody want to go back in the day, but what they did, they took what they had where they were, and they made it work, and they tried to make sure we were better. We got to take that same approach when it comes to wanting to make our children better. And you can't get any better than starting to read. And the earlier, the better.
Right.
I have seen that happen.
Right.
The earlier our children start to read, the better they'll be in math and everything.
Yes.
So, Mekael, like Ms. Rogers said, whether it's basketball books, how do you feel about that? It doesn't matter about the book.
It doesn't matter. If it's something that grabs their interest, let them do it. Now, no two children are the same. I have a daughter, she will read 10 books a day. My son, he'll read, but he won't read 10 books a day. But what he will do, he'll write. He'll write out football plays. He'll have a notebook full of football plays that he's written out. He'll write basketball plays out. So he's writing these players' names. He's spelling them out. So he's reading, but not in the way that we normally expect children to just read a book. But he's reading those players' names. He's writing out the play. So he's reading and writing, but not like the traditional way. So I agree with her. Meet them where they are. If it's football, basketball, if it's music, write out those lyrics. Make up your own song. Write your own song, your own poem. Let them be creative in their writing and reading ability.
Yeah,
because we all have that in us. We were all born with a gift and a purpose. And as children, they might not know what it is, but as adults, we have to help them, find that and mold it.
Yeah, because kids have a different ability. It's like the world of autism. They find a different way in order to educate children with the Ashburn syndrome. They find a different way to teach kids the same thing that everybody else is learning, but they're learning it differently because we're all different.
Right.
And my mother's saying when I was growing up, write it down. We had to write down everything. It was if you had a vision. In my house, you had to write it down. Everything you want this kind of house, write it down. That was my mother's famous quote, write it down.
Right.
And reading and writing goes together, and I love that your son, I mean, it's no telling what he's going to do, or the NFL or the NBA or the MLB, National Baseball League. They always looking for great plays.
Right.
And you don't know who may have it. Bill Gates was famous in his technology world, but he learned a lot of things from other people.
That is so awesome. Let's pick that up. Let's go to this commercial real quick. Today's show is brought to you by earthblendcoffee.co, black owned, roasted right here in Little Jackson, Mississippi. It's just great coffee. The link is in the Facebook description box. Click on the link and support our sponsor, earthblendcoffee.co. It is some great coffee. Try it and let us know what you think.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Well, welcome back to our last segment of the show. I'm telling you, time passed when you're having fun, right?
Yes.
We were talking about making it fun in a sense when we're reading. I want to pick up there. I love what you were saying, because this show is about dropping some gems and some nuggets as a village so that our, I always say we can sow into our parents. What you were saying, Miss Roger, was your mom had you write stuff down. That's a great little tip there, just writing stuff down, because you have to look at it, you have to spell it out. Those are some great little things. And what you did with your siblings, you didn't have any children of your own, but you raised some. That's what a village will do. So how important is it making it fun and being creative, you think, to having children to read?
Oh, I think you learn from children.
Oh, yes.
If you listen to children, I build off of what they tell me. If a child, they are filled with big ideas, big dreams. One child can want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a police officer, a nurse, all in one sentence.
That's it.
And they are serious when they say it.
Yeah.
And my mother, when we had to write down every individual thing that we wanted to be, and what does it take to be each one of them. And when one didn't work or we fell off interest, she jumped to the next one, into the next one. And so don't kill the big ideas of kids. They are serious when they say that they want to be. So it's very important to listen to the children, and children will tell you what they want to be. And in listening to what they say, we have to pay attention to what they show interest in as well.
That's true.
Whether that be the right interest or wrong interest, and try to keep them railed on the right track.
Pauline, I really love that because you're so true. We can learn so much from our children, and I don't want the parents to overlook that here on the village. But you have to listen to them, okay? Don't just always talk at them. Let them converse with you, okay? Listen to. It may not make sense to you, but they have a mind of their own in the way that they are processing things. Can we allow them to talk it out? Okay, let's write that down.
That's right.
Let's think about this, all right?
That's right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Miss Black, on this.
And you know what? I did that with my kids. I told them to write down what they wanted to be. And my daughter wrote down she wanted to be a doctor, a firefighter, a soccer player, and a pianist, right? So, but the thing is, if you think about it, one of the biggest dream killer, it comes from a family member.
Yes.
The biggest dream killer. They may say they want to be a doctor. Don't say, no, you can't be that. You won't be that. Don't, whatever it may be, you want to be an NFL player. My son, he want to play in. Okay, what's another option? What else you want to be? I'm not gonna tell he's not or he can't.
Right.
Don't kill their dreams. It may seem crazy or far-fetched to you, but like Miss Pauline said, it's not to them. They dream big.
Right.
Don't be their dream killer.
Wow.
Help them find their gift. Help them find it. And mold them. Once you recognize it, sometimes you'll recognize it, but you're not to just, this is what you're supposed to do. Help guide them in that direction or mold them, and they'll get to it. Don't be the dream killer.
Which is why we are here to help to shape and to mold them.
That's right.
Because they can dream of their future. We can help to support them and shape and mold them to become that future, right? Listen, that is so important, parents, that you get this now. Do not crash their dreams, okay?
Right.
Whatever they say they want to be, allow them to believe that they can become that, okay?
Right.
Because what you can believe, what the mind can believe, it can achieve. But if you have somebody as important as a parent that is going to shut it down, I mean, you're one of the closest thing to them. And you start shutting things down, now you're placing doubt on them for when they go out into schools and other places, right? Because you done told them what they can't do.
Right.
Always encourage them to even be more.
Exactly.
So that they can keep dreaming big, right?
Exactly.
I heard a quote one time, it said, the problem is that it's not that we don't dream, it's just that we don't dream big enough.
Exactly.
Now, that was to adults. Children always dream big.
That's right.
We got to let them continue to dream,
Yeah.
right? We got to continue to make it fun for them. How we support them with their little dreams. And I remember I was speaking at a high school, or it was a junior high, and maybe it was an elementary school, but anyway, this young lady said she wanted to be a doctor, and she had repeated, I didn't know it at the time, but she had repeated the 4th grade, and she wanted to be a doctor. And I was making a speech. It was an auditorium full, and the other guy said he wanted to be another person said he wanted to be a nurse. I started calling her doctor during that whole presentation. It was like, well, Dr. Karen over here. Now, this may be a nurse for you, Nurse James. He said he wanted to be a nurse, but Dr. Karen. Put that title on them if that's what they say they want to do. Use that to help propel them to become, what they want to become.
Yes. Right.
I hate to see children being shut down because parents don't either take the time or feel like they have the time to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
So I want to say this, and then I want to get you all's opinion of it. Children spell love, and I've always said this. Okay, because and I have a daughter, and she's in special education, and she always say that every child can learn. They may learn different. And you all have expressed that so well. But one of the things that we got to do with our children, we got to give them some time.
Right.
We need to give them some time. As parents, we can watch a little bit too much television. We can be on the phone a little bit too much when they need attention. I know you're buying their clothes. I know you're paying the rent. I know you're providing food. But they spell love Time.
Yes.
And if you're not giving them the time to listen to them, to express your love and affection toward them, now we're missing out on something. Talk to me, I'll start with you, Miss Pauline, about time. How you feel like how important time is?
If you don't give them the time can eventually do them, and they are doing time.
Wow.
So that's what I say about time. You give them the time now, or you find them doing time later. And it's just that simple for me.
Wow. That's pretty deep.
That's real deep.
Yes. And that is reality. It's reality.
Because a lot of them I deal with, that's in essence, it goes back to a lot of childhood. Hurt, pain, lack of time. And it goes back to that. Right now, as we speak, one of the most profound things I'm dealing with is a family reunification case. This girl, I don't know how she got in contact with me, has been in the foster care system since she was 3 days old. She's found her mother. Her mother's incarcerated. And she reached out to us because she wants to reconnect with her mother. And I love it. She's forgiven her mother. She's 18 now. She's no longer in the system. And she wants to reunite with her mother. And I want to never laid eyes on either one of them. But I'm the conduit between it. And I'm loving it because I know a lot of what has to transpire that has not transpired over the years. So doing time now, spending time now with your children is important. Because if you don't, there are a lot of them are doing time because of the lack of time that they did not have.
There was an old Fram commercial that used to be out, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. In other words, you get your oil changed down in your car or you can buy a motor later on. Wow. I mean, it just doesn't get any more real than that.
Right.
Give me your thoughts.
Going into the schools and reading the books, I'm able to talk to kids, right? So one of the questions I ask is, who likes to read? I get some hands, I get no hands. So the kids who don't raise their hand, why don't you like to read? And I'm hearing this answer. I have nobody to help me to read.
Wow.
It's too many pages in the book. And I don't have anyone to help me to read.
Wow.
I'm hearing stuff like, my mom doesn't care. Like she said, you have to spend that time.
Yes.
And if you don't, guess what? Kids are turning to the TV. They're turning to social media. You got Facebook, TikTok, all these apps and platforms where predators are at, where these music influencers are at. If you're not influencing them, the world will influence them. And when the world influences them, they end up having to deal with Miss Pauline in her organization?
You know, either somebody's going to give them time. It may be the wrong kind of affection, but they're giving them time, but it's because of something that they don't have or they didn't get at home.
Right.
So they're looking for that affection because they didn't get it from you, they get it from somebody else. Somebody's going to put some structure in place for them because children need structure. I mean, they may resist it, but our human nature said we need structure. That's why you can't go to a job that say you need to be there at 8. You can't show up at 10 o'clock and say, well, I'm here now. You won't be there long.
Right.
We all need structure. Otherwise, we won't obey the things that we need to obey. Well, this has been so much fun. I cannot believe this is the last segment and it's about ending here. But I just want to say how much I appreciate you, Ms. Black, and you, Ms. Pauline, for what you're doing. And again, guys, what we're trying to do now is, and you can get in touch with Ms. Black. We're going to put it in the link how you can get in touch with her so that we can sponsor books for the organization that Ms. Rogers are so faithfully making it happen with all of our incarcerated children. We cannot forget about any child. So stop talking about them and let's do something about it. Well, again, this has been a great show, and today's show has been brought to you by earthblendcoffee.co. Black owned, roasted right here in Jackson, Mississippi. It's just great coffee. The link is in the Facebook description box. Click on the link and support our sponsor, earthblendcoffee.co. It is just great coffee. Once you taste it, you'll want some more.